Here are the 5 books that changed my life for success. So as I was growing up, I was raised to become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. I grew up in this Asian traditional household where I was supposed to go to college, get a 9-to-5 job, and do the traditional 9-to-5 rat race type of life, I guess. And so it wasn't until I was 22 years old when I learned what the word entrepreneur meant.
2 words: entrepreneurship.
Now, prior to that, I've heard of the word entrepreneur. I never really knew how to spell it or what it really meant. But one day when I was 22, all my friends had went out to go to a party and they invited me to go out. But for some reason, I wasn't really into going out at the time. But that one night, I stayed home and I wanted to figure out how to make $1 million. So what did a 22-year-old kid do? I went on my computer and I searched on YouTube how to make $1 million, right? And so I went on YouTube and searched up how to make $1 million. And I remember watching the speaker talk on stage and just explaining that if you want to become financially free, whether it's financially freedom, time freedom, location freedom, you need to be an entrepreneur or some type of business owner, right? And he was just talking about how you should not be a doctor. And so that was kind of when it sparked to me, and that's when I figured out that I wanted to become an entrepreneur, even though I didn't know what it meant or how to spell it at the time. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 books that really changed my life and what it took for me to be where I'm at today. After graduating from college, I've decided not to become a doctor. I have my own business. I run a digital marketing agency. So hopefully these 5 books are going to help you in your own ways, and hopefully that you can become successful in your own ways as well. Let me know if you read these books in the past or if you plan on reading these books, because this definitely has helped me. Hey guys, if you guys want to check out any of the books that I mentioned in this video, I'm going to leave a product link, their Amazon link, in the description below. So if you want to check out any of the books that I've reviewed or talked about in this video, everything is going to be in the link in the description below. Now back to the video. So the first thing that I needed in order for me to become successful was to rewire my mindset, the way that I think, and just how I look at things, right? Because I was so accustomed to growing up, to becoming this lawyer, accountant, engineer, a doctor, and going to college. I didn't really know, that's all I knew, right? I didn't know anything outside of going to school and studying books and things like that, right? So I needed to learn how to rewire my mindset, my brain, and how I think. So one of the first books that I read that changed my life for success was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now this book is super popular. It's a classic, right? And this book really helped me think differently, because this book, it compared the difference between how a rich dad thinks compared to a poor dad thinks, right? It's about Robert growing up and having 2 dads, right? One rich dad, one poor dad. And so one poor dad would teach him to, go to school, save as much money as you can, get a job, get a 9-to-5, and just hoard your money, and essentially trading time for money. Now his rich dad taught him how to make money work for you, right? Getting paid based on your value and really investing that money so that you can have more time freedom. So this book really helped me think from different perspectives, because I related it to this book so much, because my dad, myself, he raised me, he taught me to go to school, get good grades, get a great job, have a family, and he would always tell me how tough life was and how hard it is to earn your money, right? Because he worked a 9-to-5, he had to work overtime, and I don't blame him. He immigrated here, and so he had to grow his whole family, and I could see how life was tough for him. But just from his mindset though, it was go to work, wake up at 5 a.m. or get ready for work, I think clock in at 8, and then work till 5, 6, sometimes even 8 p.m. to get home, 10, 12-hour shifts, because he needed to work overtime to provide for the family. Now the rich dad, on the other hand, is that you work, you get your money, but you don't want to save it, right? Whereas my dad, everything you make, you got to save, put it towards your savings account and things like that. But rich dad in this book shared that you should be investing your money into the market, S&P 500 and things like that, and just sharing how, you know, most people who buys cars and clothes, materials, or they purchase liabilities compared to things that is going to help you grow and get more time back. Now, the second book that helped me rewire my mindset in order for me to become successful is the popular book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this book is another classic that I totally highly recommend anybody needs to read. If you haven't read this and you are looking to, you know, be more successful or just learn more on how to stay focused, how to get that grind going, how to become successful, you need to start with Think and Grow Rich. Is another book you should add to your library. Now, this book is about the author. It's an old book, it's a classic, and this book studies, I believe, 500 of the greatest entrepreneurs of all time, dating back to Henry Ford and the greats, dating back all the way back then, right? So this book studies successful people from the past and what their thought process was, and they share a lot of anecdotes, short stories of working with Thomas Edison and all that good stuff. I highly recommend this book. And what this book did for me was it helped me be more aware of my thoughts, right? Because it's so important to have positive thoughts, right? What you think turns into actions. And another thing that this book helped me do was it helped me stay focused and stay hungry. Even though at the time I was a new entrepreneur, I was a wantrepreneur, I didn't know what I was really doing. I didn't really know what direction I was going, but this book helped fueled a fire inside of me, even though I didn't know what I was doing, right? It helped me. One of the chapters in the book, it talks about desire, right? What is your desire? And so this book for me, it just helped me stay focused. It helped me stay hungry, and it kept me on track to wanting more, to keep chasing this success, right? And I've actually read this book more than once, and each time I go through it, I'm always learning something new. And you know, it always sparks that fire that I needed again to continue to grow, right? So this isn't one of those books where you read one time, you can just put it down. Even though you get the benefits from reading it the first time, you can always get more benefits from reading it multiple times. So this book really helped me, you know, stay focused, stay hungry. And these are the first two books that I highly recommend if you are looking to kind of rewire your mindset, think from a different perspective, think of how entrepreneurs, you know, highly successful entrepreneurs think and what they did to get to where they are. So these are the two books that I would, you know, probably start off with. Now, the second thing that I needed in order to become successful was that I needed to learn how to deal with people. I needed to learn how to negotiate. I needed to learn how to build relationships. I needed to learn how to, I guess, get things my way. So the third book that, and this is one of my favorite books that I've read all the time just because it is such an easy read. The third book that I highly recommend is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and I actually have the book right here. I have the hard copy of it. This is what it looks like. I ordered it off Amazon. I've read this book multiple times, and even though it teaches you practical tips, it goes in depth, it gives stories on how to use it effectively. And I believe this book is I recommend this book to anybody. It teaches you the common sense of just being how to deal with people, how to talk to people, and really how to get things, how to win things, right? How to get things your way. And the way you do that is putting yourself in other people's shoes, how to think from the other person's perspective. And this book really helped me do that, because before I would be, you know, I would just want things my way. I'm a stubborn person, so it's my way or the highway type of thing. But this book really helped me think from a different perspective. It helped me put myself in other people's shoes and talk the way I speak now. You know, it's a win-win situation for everybody, right? And so I definitely highly recommend this book if you haven't read it yet, or even if you read it, maybe you should pick this book up again and reread it, because this book is great. How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Only Book You Need to Lead You to Success by Dale Carnegie. This book is awesome. So in this book, it teaches you something different, a different tip, a different strategy, but they're all great practical tips that it shares, it goes deep into. And I really like this book because each chapter that I read, I go through, I learn something new, and then right away I try to apply it, right? So don't just read the book, guys. Try applying these things, you know, with your friends, your family and stuff like that, just to kind of get them in the motion. And it might be, to be honest with you, it might feel weird at first because it was for me. So for example, you know, in one of the first few chapters, first principle number 1 here, right? For example, become genuinely interested in other people. Now this might seem so obvious and things like that, but as soon as I implemented that, right? As soon as I started genuinely becoming more interested in what other people had to say, had to share, I felt like I started building a better connection with people because I was actually interested in what they had to say, what they're doing, and in return, they enjoyed that conversation with me, right? And so that chemistry, I guess, that relationship just grows. So like I said, guys, pick up this book, read it, reread it. This book definitely helped me a lot for as far as like for success and things like that. So definitely highly recommend this book. Now this next book, it really taught me what it looks like, what the journey looks like to become successful, to what it is like to become an entrepreneur or a successful business owner, right? My journey, I had no idea what an entrepreneur journey looked like at the time. It was go to school, graduate, get a good job, get a good 9 to 5, get good grades and all that good stuff, right? So I needed to learn how to become a millionaire mindset. I needed to have that. I needed to know what the journey looked like, which road I needed to take in order to get there, right? And so this 4th book that I'm gonna recommend to you guys is Millionaire, Fastlane, Crack the Code to Wealth and Live Rich for a Lifetime by MJ DeMarco. And this book was one of the first books that I read because at the time I was so interested in learning how to make $1 million, right? And I was only 22 years old, so I had no idea anything about that. So I picked up this book, Millionaire, Fastlane. And this is one, like I said, this is one of the first books that I read. And so this book helped me understand, you know, what the journey was going to look like. It showed me that there was a different road to success without having to be, you know, a highly profile profession, right? Because I was so fixated on becoming this traditional, I don't know, professional for my family, right? So it completely changed my mind on that. And it really showed me what the journey should look like or would look like, you know, that there's other possible ways you can go, other routes you can take that doesn't have to be, you know, a 9 to 5 and escaping the rat race, going to school and all that stuff, right? So this book is something, you know, for beginners. If you're just looking to learn more about how the journey looks like, how to become a millionaire fast lane, what's the fastest way to become successful, right? It gives you these shortcuts, these keys and things like that in order for you to think a certain way to speed up your process in getting to becoming that successful entrepreneur that you can be. So this last book that I'm going to share with you is pretty important, especially in today's society, because today's society, we base success off of what we see on Instagram, right? These amazing photos of people standing in front of jets or sitting inside of private jets, fancy cars, nice hotels, always traveling and things like that. But after I read this book, and I actually read this was also one of the first books that I read, and The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko, right? This book shared that anybody could become a millionaire. The person next door could be a millionaire. The person that drives a crappy car, wears the same clothes every single day with holes in them, could be actually a really wealthy person. Now at the time, I always thought, you know, you gotta have the nice watch, nice car, big house, and you know, in a way, a little flashy. You know, I thought that was what most rich people do, right? And so after I read this book, I had a better understanding, like, you should be always treating everybody the same no matter what their status is. But what this book kind of shared with me was that the people who are less flashy, the people who don't show off as much, are usually, you know, they could actually be the ones that are really wealthy. Now this book also taught me how wealthy people actually use their money, right? So instead of purchasing expensive clothes, driving fancy cars, taking private jets everywhere, and staying at the nicest hotels when they're traveling and things like that, wealthy people know how to spend their money, right? So this book dives into what wealthy people actually spend their money on instead of what you mostly see on Instagram or social media nowadays. And this book also talks about how income does not equal wealth, because People who make a ton of money but they don't know how to use the money, or they spend all their money, right? It doesn't actually make them wealthy, right? So this book explains how, for example, if you are a lawyer, right, and you make X amount of money, but all the stress that comes along with it, and you start getting addicted to gambling, drugs, and stuff like that, you're actually not wealthy, right? The goal is to become wealthy, not necessarily rich, right? Because you can make all the money in the world, but if you are not happy at the end of the day, and if you're not spending your money, you know, the right way to earn back your freedom and ultimately be happy, you're not wealthy, and at the end of the day, you're not winning. So this book really dives into that and teaches you what the wealthy people actually do and how they spend their money. So these are my 5 books that helped me become successful. Now, mind you, these books did not make me successful. I said these books helped me become successful, right? But what these books did do for me was it helped me think differently. It helped me rewire my mindset, think from a different perspective, think and act according on how highly successful people have done in the past, right? Because these books have studied the highly successful entrepreneurs. And so I really just kind of modeled that and just really learned as much as I can from these people who have a great ton of success before me. And so I really just implemented these, and these books really helped me stay focused, right? Because you might say, you know, a lot of these books, they teach you practical things, obvious things that you probably already know. But what these books did for me was that even though I kind of already knew some of the strategies and tips that it might have told, it kind of brought that, I don't know if that's a word, but brought that up to my mind again, and I started implementing more, right? So these books really helped me stay focused and hungry, right? It kept my desire, it kept my fire fueled, really. And so for me to just continue to chase after this destination, my goals and stuff like that, it was really, you know, these books really contributed to that. I think a lot of people who are trying to achieve success, you know, they start to lose sight of that when things get tough, right? When they start running into obstacles, or if they don't have a routine in place where they're consistent, they get bored of it for whatever reason, and they just lose track of things. And so by reading these books, it really, like I said, it helps me stay focused. It keeps me on task, keeps me on the journey, keeps me on the road to wanting to level up, right? So if you feel stuck or anything like that, I would say read books, because they keep you fired up, they keep you moving forward. These books also taught me to become more aware of my thoughts, my actions, and everyday habits and rituals, I guess, to become more successful, because it has definitely impacted me in a positive way. You know, I definitely think more positively. The actions I do, you know, making my bed or going to the gym every single day, you know, praying and things like that, just the little things, meditating, just the little things, guys. Having positive habits, positive routines through reading these books has definitely helped me become a better, not only, you know, more successful, but also become a better person. So I don't really consider myself successful, highly successful whatsoever. However, I will say that I've been able to achieve a lot of my goals that I had first initially set out to do. And, you know, I would say that these books definitely contributed to that. And so I'm going to continue reading more books and reread these books again and again, right? Because, you know, it keeps me fired up, keeps my energy going, it drives me. And hopefully these books can drive you as well. So let me know what your favorite books are in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts on the books that I've shared with you today. If I'm missing anything, leave in the comment section below. And if you thought these books are helpful to you whatsoever, if you plan on reading it, drop a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.